Welcome to your first ever college class. I'm Rob Franek, editor-in-chief here at the Princeton Review, and I'm here to give you the most important college advice that you'll ever get. The advice that will get you into college. And not just any college, but a college that qualifies you, and it's going to sound exaggerated, but I mean it right down to my twinkle toes, your dream college. It may seem like it's harder than ever to get into college, but it just isn't. Let's break this down, and let's break it down together. Thanks in part to the rise of the Common Application, which streamlines the process of applying to multiple colleges, lots of students are applying to more and more schools. Some popular institutions like UCLA, and that's the University of California at Los Angeles, are receiving more than 100,000 applications a year. But what does this mean? Well, University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, doesn't have 100,000 spots in its incoming freshman class. So UCLA's acceptance rates, like the acceptance rates of so many highly selective schools, are creeping further and further down each year. But here's another fact. The flip side of that sometimes humbling statistic is that students who are applying to 10, 15, and 20 schools also can't actually attend all of those schools. They can only attend one. So as schools are getting more selective, students have to get more selective too, making it a truly perfect storm. College admission are more volatile and more unpredictable than they've ever been before. But that doesn't actually make college admission harder. In fact, more than 3/4 of all college-bound students get into their first choice schools. I'm going to repeat that. 3/4 of all college-bound students get admitted to their first choice schools. So, how can you correct for the volatility in college admission? In one word, and we talk about this all the time at the Princeton Review, that one word is fit. Here's the part where I tell you about the real secret to getting into your top choice schools, and it lies in the choice you make before you even apply in the first place. So what do I mean? Let me explain it this way. Here are two quick facts about college admission, folks, that I am convinced you will hear nowhere else. First fact, it has never ever been easier to get into college than it is today. Second fact, it has never ever been harder to get into college than it is today. What? Who is this YouTube quack? Folks, how could both of those things be true? We are going to try to prove out my theory, but we are going to do it together. We're going to do a mini exercise and to demonstrate this, and it will all become incredibly clear. I want you to take out your phone or a piece of paper or whatever you have handy, and I want you to write down the names of 3 colleges or universities that you would love to see yourself at as a freshman, with these 2 caveats. Number 1, I don't care if you don't have a prayer in heaven to get into any of those schools academically, or $2 saved in the bank to pay for it. So it doesn't matter about academic admission, and it doesn't matter about financial aid and money. Folks, I'm only going to give you 27 seconds to write down those 3 schools. You ready? Go! 27 seconds. Folks, I am on the clock here. Any school is fair game. They could be public or private or large or small, urban, suburban, or rural. Anything could be up there. They could be co-ed institutions. They could be single-sex institutions. They could be religious. They could be secular. These schools could be military academies. You're getting my point. Oh, they can be online universities. They could be for-profit universities. Heresy. Folks, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I want you to keep your pens in your hands or your fingers on your phone, and I want you to cross off the following schools. I want you to cross off every Ivy League school. Cue the audible groans. I want you to cross off also the following schools in our home city of New York City. I want you to cross off NYU. We already got Columbia because it's an Ivy. We're going to cross off Fordham University as well. We're going to move up to the New England area. We're going to cross off the University of Connecticut. We're going to cross off Boston University, Boston College, and wait for it, we're crossing off MIT. We're also going to cross off Northeastern in Boston. 3 main schools, Bates, Bowdoin, and Colby. Now we're going to move down to the Middle Atlantic states. We're going to start in D.C. We're going to cross off George Washington, Georgetown, and American University. We're going to move a little further south. We're going to cross off Duke University. We're also going to cross off the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Folks, we're going to hit just 2 schools in the Midwest. We're going to hit Northwestern University and the University of Chicago. We're going to hit 1 school in Texas. We're going to hit University of Texas at Austin and a measly 3 schools in California. Ready? UCLA, University of California, Los Angeles, as we've discussed. UC Berkeley, University of California at Berkeley. Of course, we're going to cross off Stanford, and we're going to throw 1 in more, Pomona. Folks, that is about 30 schools that we named off. Pens down, hands off your phones. Folks, I now want you to raise your virtual hand if you still have 3 schools left on your list. How about 2 schools left on your list? 1 school left on your list. Folks, last year, my team, our team at the Princeton Review, worked with 1 out of every 2 students who applied to college last year. And I have done this exact exercise with many of those students. And when I ask students and their parents who still has 3 schools left on their list, folks, it is normally crickets in every audience. And I should tell you that 2 schools and 1 school don't fare much better. We have an annual survey at the Princeton Review. It's called College Hopes and Worries. And this year, we asked 12,000 high school students and their parents to answer that same question. What would be their dream school for them as students and parents for their kids if academic admission and cost were not factors? Let's look at what they said. We're going to start with the student list. Here it goes. Number 1, Stanford. Number 2, Harvard. Number 3, Princeton. Names you likely have heard of before. Let's look at our parent list. Number 1, Stanford. Number 2, Harvard. Number 3, Princeton. What a thoughtfully conceived list. Folks, here's the thing. And we should acknowledge that the 47,400 students who applied to Stanford this past year, the 4.2% of whom were accepted, are superlative students indeed. And I should also say that each of the schools on this fabulous list are truly notable and excellent schools. And while they could be awesome fits for some students, I can guarantee you with mathematical certainty that they are not ideal fits for every student who jotted down those names on their list of dream colleges. Folks, every time I do this exercise, we recreate a phenomenon that we're seeing across the country. Many students are simply applying to the same 25 schools. Going back to our thesis, it has never ever been easier to get into college than it is today because there are literally 3,000 plus four-year colleges in the U.S. alone, but it has never been harder to get into college than it is today because we are all applying to the same 25 schools. Those are the schools that spark news stories about how hard it is to get into college and cause a general feeling of panic around college admission. Folks, I have one simple message for you. There is no need for panic. Those are 25 schools, the ones that everybody seems to apply to. Those schools represent less than 1% of all colleges in the U.S. If you decide you want to go to a top 5% school, you have 150 choices. A top 10% school, you have 300 choices. And that's just how the math works. There are simply a lot of options. And there's no guarantee that the 25 schools that everybody seems to be applying to are good fits for you, or that they're better schools than the other 125 on that top 5% list. So let's do this. Let's not take a cookie cutter approach to college admission. Let's look broadly about what you care about and find the colleges that you're likely to be happiest at. Academically, campus culture, financial aid, career services, and that are likely to be the happiest to welcome you to their campuses. Folks, let's visit our college search tool. Say you want to go to a school in the Midwest. You want to major in biology. You're hoping for a school that's either in a small city or a suburb, and you want to find a school that offers great return on your tuition investment. And you may want to write for the school paper. If you look for specific test score ranges and supply those additional preferences, you can drill down even further. But as a jumping off point, you should definitely look at the University of Dayton and Kalamazoo and Washington University in St. Louis and Purdue University and, of course, personal favorite at the Princeton Review, University of Wisconsin at Madison. Now, if you're willing to cast a wider geographical net, you might find that you're deliriously happy at other excellent schools, such as Auburn or Clemson or Wake Forest or University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Or say that you're a rising political who loves the fast-paced lifestyle, and you're also keen on attending an HBCU. Now, that acronym stands for Historically Black College and University. And you also want to pursue a higher education degree at a college that values and encourages community service. Well, if that's you, then Howard University, located in Washington, D.C., could be a perfect choice for you. Other schools that you might also want to consider: Hampton University, another HBCU just a few hours south of DC in Virginia; American University, another DC university; and personal favorite of ours at Princeton Review, one of mine as well, University of Maryland at Baltimore County, a fantastic school just 1 hour outside of Washington, D.C. You could also be looking at schools that are unapologetically massive, with lots of students and faculties and wonderful resources: the University of Arizona, Cal State Long Beach, University of Texas at Austin. On the other hand, you could be looking at schools that are really small, with fewer than 3,000 students, where you're likely to know many of your classmates, a large percentage of the faculty, like Macalester, Carleton, Reed, Grinnell College. I could geek out with you all day long because these lists should and can go on and on. The point is this: there's a big, wide world of genuinely fantastic schools, and we want you to find those fabulous institutions that fit your wants and your needs, and then add them to your list. When schools winnow down those tens of thousands of applicants to their pool of accepted students, they are looking for fit. You should be looking for fit too. If you curate your list of schools carefully, based on the criteria that matter to you, you'll have an easier time making a case for yourself, and you'll be more likely to get in, and you'll probably be far happier as you matriculate into those classes. Folks, I can't underscore this enough. You should do your homework and find the schools that offer academics and extracurriculars and campus environments that suit your personality as well as your goals. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe to our channel for all of our expert college advice that you'll need to get into your dream colleges. In the next video, I'll walk you through exactly how to find the schools that you're likely to be best fits at.